I like One Piece, in case you couldn't tell from me having a One Piece channel. Wait, no, I can say I'm a variety YouTuber now that I've made an LSD video. Regardless, One Piece is one of my favorite things along with you and this man's chest. So today, let's talk about some of my favorite things in One Piece from different categories in One Piece. Oh yeah, and if you want to see part 1, it's linked in the description. But first, I just have to get this poem out because, you know, I wrote it for you guys, so let me know how I did. It's my first time writing a poem. Oh, subscribe button. You look as good as cash. You, my dear viewer, are worthy of being the one it smash. I know, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. I know I'm like a prodigy, even though it's my first time. Yeah, this was my way of getting you guys to, or, well, asking you guys to press the subscribe. You know what, I'm just gonna move on. There have been a lot, and I mean a lot of good backstories in One Piece. Every Straw Hat has had a very good and tear-jerking backstory, and most of the side characters we meet in arcs have a backstory that make us cry. For example, Rebecca from Dressrosa, who is, by the way, every anime-only's favorite backstory, without a doubt. Regardless, narrowing down this category is by far one of the most difficult challenges I've had. I mean, there's just so many backstories that have made us cry or laugh, and Oda is by all means a master at writing backstories. Most of the time. Molten Lava aside, my favorite backstory actually comes from someone I don't think many people would expect. While I've talked a lot about Robin and people, my favorite backstory is actually Kozuki Oden's backstory. If you can't tell from my profile picture, this was one of my favorite stretches of episodes ever. Oden was such a legendary character, and to see how he changed the world forever is just really fun to watch. Watching Roger reach Laugh Tale is one of my favorite moments ever, and the fight between Roger and Whitebeard we were blessed with was just so good. And maybe we'll talk about that one later on. Seeing how strong young Roger and Whitebeard were was literally unbelievably hype, and don't forget Rayleigh stopping Marco with one finger. Watching all these legends in their younger form made me happy like nothing else has in a while. It was just so hype, and it proved that the legends were on another level. And we also got to see the man, the myth, the legend, Buggy D Clown as a child, which made me so happy. Oh yeah, and there was also some red-haired and some black-haired kid. I don't know, must not be too important. Regardless, Oden himself was also superb. He gave Wano so much more emotion, and his struggle was beautifully displayed. Seeing the man sacrifice so much for his nation was really heartwarming, and let's not forget the tragic ending because, well, it is a One Piece backstory, so they pretty much always end in death. Oden's death was one of the saddest deaths I've ever seen though, and the amount of hatred it made me have for Orochi was on another level. Oden's backstory was crucial to Wano as it gave it much needed emotional depth, and it allowed us to feel the same hatred, pain, and suffering the retainers have felt. And finally, Oden's fighting was hella fun to watch. His two-sword style was incredibly fun, and he was insanely powerful. Yet he wasn't even close to Roger or Whitebeard, which just makes them even more hype, and it's just all so good. One Piece has a lot of villains, which is expected. I mean, the show has like 5,000 episodes, but it has like a lot of villains. Do you guys get that One Piece has a lot of villains? Anyways, from pirates to marines to whatever this thing is, One Piece has some of the most unique and creative villains I've ever seen. From sick-ass designs to villains who are carefully created to make us question our sense of justice in the world, Oda is a master at creating complex villains that are genuinely some of the best in all of anime. But one villain in particular is especially special, and from the sorry, I can't believe I just said especially special. One villain in particular is especially unique, and from the very first time we met him, he's made us question what is real and what isn't. Of course, I'm talking about Marshall D. Teach. Blackbeard is, in my opinion, the greatest antagonist for Luffy that Oda has made. The ideal relationship between an antagonist and protagonist is that the antagonist pushes the protagonist past his boundaries and make him do things that don't align with their character, something that Blackbeard has already done masterfully. Luffy would try to kill Blackbeard on sight, something that's very out of character for him. Blackbeard caused the death of Ace, Luffy's brother, and let's not forget that there's something about Blackbeard that is really creepy. All the mystery around him makes him 10 times more scary than he already is, and the fact that he can have 2 devil fruits somehow just makes him infinitely more scary. Out of all the characters in the show, I'd argue that Blackbeard is the one who seems to have the least amount of limits on him. Even Shanks, who is another incredibly broken character, feels limited somehow, but Blackbeard doesn't have the same limits on him, which makes him incredibly scary. He has the same dream as Luffy, which also directly makes them opponents, and the fact that he's managed to piss off every single group in this world and survive is absolutely insane. His crew themselves are also, scary for a variety of reasons, and he even has an ex-admiral in the crew who's also the only redeeming factor for this crew in the attractiveness department. Regardless, Blackbeard is set up to be the perfect antagonist to Luffy, and he's just a top-tier character. He doesn't even seem to have humane limits on him, and it just makes you question, how broken is this man? And if you need more proof for Blackbeard being a god tier antagonist, he actually has a black beard. Whitebeard did not have a white beard, so Blackbeard is already better than Whitebeard, who's a fraud. Cancel Whitebeard 2023. Now, this is something unique to One Piece. The crew shot, or as I like to call it, pulling up with the homie shot, is something almost every One Piece arc has had. For those of you who don't get what I'm talking about yet, I'm talking about the moment when the camera pans to a shot of all the Straw Hats together getting ready to kick the bad guys' asses. Asses? What's the plural of ass? Assi? Asses? I don't know English. It's usually either a walk to face the villains or just a shot of the entire crew together ready to kick ass. In other words, when Luffy pulls up with the homies. Regardless, these moments fill us with pure hype. It garners excitement in a way nothing else does, and it's just so goddamn cool. I love watching everyone come together before they go off and fight their own battle, and it's just really nice seeing the crew have a second to pose for the camera. But out of all of the pulling up with the homies shot, which one is my favorite? From the walk on Fishman Island to the iconic walk on Arlong Park, which started everything off, there have been a plethora of iconic moments, but one to me stands above all else, and that was the gang shot on Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby was a chaotic arc where almost everyone in the crew got separated, and it was the closest the crew has come to literally falling apart, which I think made the pulling up with the homie shot hit so much harder. Although the crew was literally in shambles, we managed to make it here to save Robin, and that's what mattered. It was sort of reassuring seeing how after everything, they were still together. And let's not forget how hyped this was. For the first time in the saga, the crew had a proper chance of beating CP9 and saving Robin. The gang shot generated incredible amounts of hype because we knew we were this close to rescuing Robin, and so did she, because this shot led to one of the most emotional moments in the entire show. Robin's "I want to live" moment arguably hit as hard as it did only because their entire crew was there to support her. Overall, this moment is just iconic, and it's one of the first moments I think of when I think of Straw Hats. 10 out of 10. Also, Sogeking was there. 12 out of 10. Now, I know that classifying world building into a singular moment is a bit hard, so this is what I went with instead. I went with the singular moment that made you go, oh shit, this world is crazy. For example, the reveal of the red line. When we first saw the red line, it was a jaw-dropping moment that made you go, holy shit, that's massive. So, you know, stuff like that. Anyways, and my only spoiler warnings ahead. But the moment that made me go, oh shit, the hardest, was this. Yeah, it's relatively recent, but it made me freak out, so you know what. Us seeing the consequences of Imu's 1945 US government cosplay was one of the greatest moments in One Piece to me. Firstly, the world building around us is great because it gives us so many potential questions. The biggest one being, what happened here? I mean, I think we can all come to an agreement that the same thing, or at least similar thing, must have happened between the donut hole in Lucia and the donut hole in Enies Lobby. But what exactly happened to Enies Lobby? More specifically, was this whole God Valley? Oda actually showing us what happened after Imu used the Mother Flame was an insane moment because it gave rise to so many questions. Another thing being, if the earthquake that followed Imu's use of the Mother Flame gave rise to sea levels increasing, is that what happens with the Aqua Laguna in the Water 7? This moment could be a potential solution to a ton of mysteries in the world of One Piece, and I think overall, as a moment, it's just masterful and very, very scary. Dude, that section was entirely off script. Holy, that's insane. Future me here. I just want to say, that explains why that English and that was so bad. I mean, that English was some of the worst English I've ever spoken, and previously I was wondering what the plural of asses was, okay? Like, plural of ass. Jesus Christ. I like it when hockey goes boom. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep this in. I don't know why I did that. Big hockey moments are some of the most hype moments in the entirety of One Piece, and ever since we learned about hockey following the time skip, it felt like these moments have only gotten better and better. Hockey is a devastating power, and when used right, it can end up destroying an entire city, which is just so goddamn satisfying to me. Yeah, I just like things exploding. There's nothing wrong with that, alright? Regardless, my favorite hockey moment was pretty hard to choose because there's just so many good ones. From Luffy knocking out 50,000 fishmen with a singular Conqueror's hockey blast, to Garp's galaxy impacts, and so many more good moments have come out of these hockey sequences. Yeah, out of all these moments, one of them in particular stands out to me as the most hype. The Roger versus Whitebeard clash. This moment is by all means the hockey moment to me. It's so hyped to see these two goats clash, and to see hockey so powerful that it literally doesn't even let them touch is so insane to me. I love seeing how these two were so powerful that even shocked Odin, who was by all means an elite hockey user himself. The power these two men had was insane and was just extremely fun to watch. These two are by all means the two strongest pirates we've seen till date, and to see them clash is just so goddamn hype. And the meaning behind the fight was emotional too, because it was the last clash Roger and Whitebeard ever had, and seeing how these two men knew that and had such a good fight is just so heartwarming. Also, it's nice to see a Whitebeard moment that isn't ruined by the internet. Next up, we got Devil Fruits, which have been a prominent part of the One Piece power system since Chapter 1. While we still haven't found out the true history behind these fruits, it's clear that they're an extremely important part of the story and it will be a major factor in the final fights of the story. From iconic fruits such as the Gum Gum fruits to fruits that shouldn't exist like Wapple's fruit, there have been a ton of fruits we've seen, but out of the thousands of Devil Fruits, one in particular stands out as my all-time favorite. The Beta Beta no Mi that Treble had. The power of mucus has long been undervalued. It allows a character to use their own body's fluids to their will, and I think it's one of the most unique fruits we've ever seen. Treble was a weak user of his mucus, but with a good user like me, I could utilize this fruit to the max. Honestly, I can see myself with this fruit becoming the Pirate King, and wow, this is the most dedicated to a bit I've ever been. Nah, but for real, my favorite Devil Fruit moment has to be the reveal of Gear 5. I mean, just everything about Gear 5 in general was just so goddamn good. Gear 5 is what I consider to be the Devil Fruitiest of fruitiest moments. What the heck just left my mind? What I'm trying to say is Gear 5 is undoubtedly the best written transformation in all of fiction, I'd argue. Mostly because I haven't watched that much fiction. But what I'm trying to say is that it fits Luffy's character perfectly and embodies the theme of freedom that Luffy has strived to achieve for so long. From a writing standpoint, it is one of, if not the best transformations I have ever seen, and Oda is a god at the way he uses his art to convey the goofiness of this transformation. And with the recent anime adaptation of this transformation, well, we can just see how goofy it is. Reminds me of Tom and Jerry that I loved as a kid, and it's just all so good. Gear 5 is the best Devil Fruit moment bar none in One Piece. But y'all know my real favorite is whatever Zoro's eating, because goddamn that's juice. But finally, let me know what your list looks like, because, you know, I'm curious as usual. Also, it's fun to see your guys' list and how they're different from mine. Also, make sure to eat food and drink water. It's getting hot out here. Overall though, that's it for me. Thank you.